Politics in Pakistan has always been unstable, but even by Pakistani standards, the chaos of the last 10 weeks has been unparalleled. First, the unceremonious exit of Imran Khan, then the violent Freedom March. Now Pakistan is staring at an economic collapse. It is dangerously short of cash. It desperately needs a bailout. Pakistan needs $36 billion. But no one wants to help it. Creditor after creditor is rejecting Pakistan's loan request. And these setbacks have triggered speculation. Some reports say the army could pull the plug on the Sharif government. So can Shehbaz Sharif save Pakistan from an economic collapse? Or should he worry about saving his chair first? On Gravitas tonight, that's what we'll discuss. Now, you already know that Pakistan's economy is in a mess. We've been reporting on how it could go the Sri Lanka way. Pakistan's foreign reserves are rapidly declining. They have a little more than $10 billion left, and that's not enough to cover even 2 months of imports, $10 billion. Plus $3.2 billion worth of debt payments are pending. So the threat of bankruptcy is real for Pakistan, which is why they turned to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. The talks failed. The IMF told Pakistan to tighten its belt first, to cut expenses and losses, to reduce subsidies. Only then will the IMF agree to a bailout. So Pakistan began exploring other options, but they've had no luck. One option is to issue bonds to raise money, but Pakistan cannot do it because it has been shut out of the global bond market. Another option is friendly governments. Well, even they are not willing to help this time. Pakistan reached out to Saudi Arabia, the UAE and China. They've been generous donors in the past, these countries, but not this time. Pakistan's Finance Minister Miftah Ismail explained why. I have his statement with me, and this is what he said. We went to Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and spoke to other countries. They are ready to give money, but all of them say we need to go to the IMF first. So that's what Pakistan's friends are saying. You can have the loan, but conditions apply. And the condition is that Pakistan must go to the IMF first, get a bailout from the IMF, and then borrow from friends to fill the gaps. And it's a catch-22 situation for Pakistan. It is going to others because the IMF has not given it a bailout. And the others say they will not give money until the IMF gives a bailout. So they're stuck. Now, why is the IMF not helping Pakistan? Because Pakistan has made a habit of it. It has been bailed out 22 times, more than any other country in the world, 22 bailouts. Pakistan has spent more years inside an IMF program than outside it. And now it wants bailout number 23. But it will have to earn it. Agree to some tough conditions. The IMF has made 5 demands. Number 1, end subsidies on fuel. Number 2, raise income tax. Number 3, increase tax on individuals who run businesses. Number 4, cut subsidies on power. And number 5, recapitalize 2 private sector banks. And these are tough demands for any government. But for a government as precariously perched as the one in Pakistan, some of these may be impossible to meet. The Sharif government recently conceded on the first demand. They hiked fuel prices. But what about the rest? They're non-committal, and we know why. Tax hikes and subsidy cuts are unpopular decisions. Shehbaz Sharif faces an election in a year if he's lucky, in a few months or weeks if he's not. And just before an election, austerity measures is the last thing you want. What's making it even more complicated is the military. They're not sitting on the sidelines on this one. Recently, Rawalpindi called a meeting. The agenda was to discuss the way forward with the IMF. Some key stakeholders were present in this meeting, including 2 former finance ministers, a former governor of Pakistan's Reserve Bank, and 2 technocrats turned politicians. They met with the senior leadership of the Pakistani military. There's talk about an interim government. This is being touted as the solution to Pakistan's current problems. The military believes this is unsustainable. So they are said to be exploring the possibility of early elections too. Reports say they've already started consultations, and let me repeat, these are reports at the moment. Some of it is speculation, but none of it can be ruled out given the fragility of civilian governments in Pakistan. So this is what we have. Barely a month into the job, Shehbaz Sharif is already fighting to keep power. The economic crisis is a test for his government. Sharif's survival depends on this. He's now making a trip to Turkey. Shehbaz Sharif is traveling with a high-level delegation to Turkey. The focus is on the money. Pakistan wants investment. The economy is driven by consumption. It makes up for 75 to 80% of Pakistan's GDP. So trade deals and more investment will help Pakistan's economy, and these deals might help Shehbaz Sharif buy some time. Unfortunately for him, Turkey itself is fumbling on the economic front. Well, we say good luck to both of them. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.